Well, hello and a very good morning to you. Well, this is something a little bit different for us. I've not been with you on a Sunday morning before, and in fact I've not been with you on this channel before, so lovely to have your company this morning. And this is something a little bit different as well, because I'm launching right now my new Grace bag kits. So you may have seen pictures of these before, but they haven't been available. They've literally just gone onto my website now. So if you wanted to take a look, I did get the email, the website address wrong. It's .com, not .co.uk, but go to debbieshawsewing.com and you'll see there under patterns, under bag making accessories, a whole load of new patterns and fabrics and trims. A lot of them are brought back from India, so they're really, really special fabrics. But this is Grace. In the kit, you will have your full instructions, and these are photographic instructions, just like you've seen I've done before. So all of your step-by-steps, all very, very clearly explained. And on the back you'll have a pattern, and I'm going to show you this morning how to make the pattern up into the bag right from scratch. Well, apart from cutting out the fabric, I've already done that little bit. So in this kit you will have the clip handle frame. These aren't available on their own just yet, but I'm hoping to get some in a few weeks' time. And you'll have two pieces of fabric. So this is the floral and the stripe. And you're going to be able to make a reversible bag if you're careful with your stitches. The beauty of these bags as well is that you can unscrew the bolts at the side here, because these aren't glued in. You can turn them the right way around or inside out so that you have the reversible bag, but it also means that you can change the cover on the bag as well. Oh, morning June, nice to see you this morning. And I'll show you how that works later on. So instructions, fabric, clip, and I'm giving you the fusible fleece as well. So there's everything that you need in the kit to be able to make this. All you're going to need on top of that is a pair of scissors, a ruler, a marking pen, a sewing machine, and some thread. That's it. Most of us have those if we sew anyway. So that's kit number one. But I do have more for you. These are some of the really special silks that I brought back from India. I did come back with quite a lot of fabric, so I thought it's about time I let you have it. So I've got two choices for you here. This is the rose gold. And the way that the fabric works here, there's one piece of fabric, but it's very long. So there's enough for the outside of the bag and the lining as well. If you wanted to stretch that a little bit further, then save the lining pieces. But these have a really nice deep border across the top. So you can use this as a border, show you that later, across the top of the bag, and then use the center of the panel to make the lining, so the lining is going to be plain. So again, everything that you need in the kit. So you've got your clip and your wadding and your full instructions again. These are also available on the website. I'll show you those later on. So your little trim there doesn't come in the kit, but it is available on the website. Or you can go for the fuchsia, and this again is in the Indian silk, and it works in the same way as the rose gold. So if I just show you the complete panel, that's what you're getting. Now, I know it's absolutely stunning. Let me show you a close-up of that. It's absolutely stunning. Because of the nature of the silk, you're going to get the same kind of print, you're going to get the same colour, but they may vary very, oh, that's difficult to say. They may vary very slightly, but you will have the same kind of look to your bag, and you will have your border at the top as well. So like for instance with this bag, if you're clever with your cutting, you can actually create the border that goes straight across the top of the bag there. And remember, these are interchangeable bags, so you can make as many of the different bags in different fabrics as you wish. And I just wanted to show you, this isn't a kit, but it's just an alternative fabric. So if you wanted to order more fabric, or you have more fabric and make up another bag, this is the Riley Blake fabric that we've got on the website. And you can see I've got the check on the outside and the flower on the inside, and again it is completely reversible and interchangeable. So I'll show you some more bits and bobs that are coming up later on. But I think we ought to do a little bit of Sunday morning sewing. So hi Charmaine and hi Emma. If you've got any questions, by the way, then do come and ask them while we're here. It'd be lovely to hear from you. Oh, hello Moira in Belfast, love to have your company as well. So here we go. The reason I'm doing it this way, by the way, rather than through a store or a shopping channel, which you never know may happen one day. I can keep the cost right down. The only problem I have is that I'm limited in the quantity of the kits that I can actually put together. So once these have gone, hopefully they will be back. There may be different fabrics, but I will be bringing you back some more at a future date. I'm just not sure where. Okay, so there's my pattern gone. Here we go. So cut out your pattern, or if you wanted to save your instructions, then trace the pattern off onto another piece of paper. And you can see on the pattern, I've got dotted lines across the top here. That's the channel where the bar of the clip's going to go through. There's a marking on the side here as well. And you're going to place this on fold. So I've already cut out my fabric pieces, and I'm going to do it again in a different fabric. So if you're, for instance, ordering the floral and stripe, maybe you don't want the floral and stripe, you just want the instructions in the kit. Use this for something else. These aren't pre-cut shapes. So you can use those for another project or put those to one side. This again is Riley Blake fabric, which I have on the website. So I've cut out the shapes, cut out the dart sections at the bottom here, and then I'm going to transfer the markings onto the lining piece and onto the outer pieces. Just going to move you all across on my little MacBook so I can see what I'm doing, because that always helps. Hi Kirsty from sunny Northants. It's a lovely day today, isn't it? So, 2 outer pieces. I've put the fusible fleece on the wrong side of what I'm calling the outer pieces, but it really doesn't matter if you're making a reversible bag which piece is going to be the outside and which piece is going to be the lining. A little tip for you if you're using the silks. When you use the fusible fleece, I haven't got my iron on at the moment, but just to show you the motion, you put the knobbly side up on the wrong side of your fabric, start in the centre and then gently stroke the iron to the edge. Don't push it with the silk because it will twist. So just very gently on a warm iron. You can use a little bit of a hotter iron for the cotton, but don't use any steam on those. To be honest, this is going to be sewn into the seam anyway, so don't worry too much about it sticking completely. So that's on the outer pieces. Then I'll need to take my pattern and the lining, and on the wrong side of the lining I'm using an erasable pen. This happens to be an air erasable pen. I'm going to transfer the markings. So just at the side here, I'm going to put a mark where the channel is and a mark where this line at the bottom is. That's really important. So I've got one line here, one line here, one line there. Then I'll need to turn the template over, so I'm just going to snip into those marks so I know where they are. And do the same on this side. So one each side of the channel and one at the mark at the bottom. And then we'll repeat that on the second piece of lining. Now you may have seen this style of bag before that I brought you, a couple of times actually. This is bigger. It's wider, so you get a nicer frill around the top. It's deeper and it's wider. So although the technique is practically the same, it's a very different look to the bag. Now the second lot of markings that I need to do are on the front and back of the bag. And that's the lines where the channel's going to go here. Now you could do this later on if you wanted to. This time I'm going to use a chalk marker because my fabric's quite dark. So my erasable pen isn't going to stand out on that very much. So I thought it might be easier just to use chalk. This is a chalk wheel. Oh, got them on the website. And I find it easier, that's 1 3/4 from the top, instead of using a template just to measure that, but you do have it marked on the template obviously. So I need to draw a line across here. When I change from one camera to the other, by the way, you do get a second of darkness. Sorry, just counting at the same time. That can't be helped at the moment, but we are looking at future technology, don't you know? So this line is 1/2 inch deep, and this is going to be the channel where the bar goes on the clasp. Now I did say I don't have a lot of stock of either of these or any of the 3 kits, I'm afraid, but I will try and get some more back again. I've had a question about shipping to the US. Now I don't normally ship abroad. I'm coming back, simply because it's so expensive, but if you drop me a line or send me a message on the website with your details, I can get an exact quote for you. To shop to the United States, to Australia, to India or to Canada from the UK is £10.50 just for this one package. So it actually works out quite expensive. It puts another half again on the cost of your bag, which is one of the reasons why I didn't go into shipping abroad, because it is so expensive. But if you really want it, then just drop me a message and I'll do a one-off for you. You just watch, there's going to be 100 of you now, so we'll have 100 off, please. Okay, now we start to sew. So put my pen back before it dries up. Move these out of the way. Right, I'm back over here. So what we need to do is to place one outer piece and one lining piece, right sides together. Oh, no we don't, we do the darts first. Getting all ahead of myself. Where these little darts are, pinch them right sides together, and we're just going to sew across the end here. And I'm using quite a small stitch because I want my bag to be strong, so I'm using a 2.2 on my sewing machine. Move that over so you can see a bit better. So you'll have 8 darts to do in total. It's actually a very quick bag to put together. As you've seen, I have made a few of these, and they take me about half an hour each. Now if you wanted to make up the bags and sell them, feel free. I have no bother with that whatsoever. Please don't sell the kits or the instructions on their own, but if you wanted to sell the bags, that's absolutely fine. And your selling points are going to be, this is a reversible bag that you can interchange with other covers. So you can maybe make up a few extra covers and sell the whole lot. Why didn't I think of that? Hi Phyllis, I'll just say a few hellos. And how did I know you'd be watching this? Oh, didn't you think you talked to somebody else? Loving the live feed from Margaret and Barrow Inverness. Oh, I'm glad you do. Thank you so much. So it is a little bit different today. Janet Jones from, oh hi, South Carolina. Oh wow. Oh. Right, sorry. Back to work. Yeah, it is a little bit different, but I've not got a lot of work on at the moment for one reason or other you may or may not know about. So I thought, you know, instead of making kits and designing panels for other people, it's about time I just jolly well did it myself. But I want to keep the cost down for you. It's always been a big thing of mine, is making sewing achievable but also affordable. I've said for many, many years that the better the quality of the fabric that you work with, the better the quality of your project. So my kits have really lovely quality fabrics, as you've seen, particularly with the Indian fabrics. And I keep things really, really simple. But to make things affordable, I thought this would be a good way to go. So let me know what you think, and let me know if you'd like to see more, and let me know what kind of things you would like to see. Okay, so that's where we are. Darts are all sewn in. So we're going to take the lining piece, put it right sides together with the outer fabric. Now if you want to pin, I'm not going to. And where these marks are at the side, I'm going to sew from the line up to the channel and stop, and I'm going to back tack there on both sides. Then I'm going to start sewing from the other side of the channel, so in between these two marks isn't going to be stitched. Then I'm going to sew into the corner, around the other side, and do the same at the other side. This is quite an important one. Doesn't matter if you don't get the channel lined up perfectly, but this is an important mark to make sure that you start and stop exactly on the mark. So, oops, everything's about to go off the table. So I'm going to go forwards and backwards a couple of stitches. Sew up to that second line, go backwards and cut my thread. And then move across to the other side of the channel, backwards and forwards, and then sew around the top. And I'll need to do this on both pieces of fabric. So somebody commented the other day that my machine sounds really noisy. My microphone is right next to the machine, so apologies if it is a little bit loud. Okay, into the next corner, and then we'll turn this around, back down to this line, and reverse and snip, across to the other side, forwards, backwards, down to the final line, that's the important one, and snip. And then just before I sew the other piece together, I'm going to snip across the corners. So that's how we're looking at the moment. Now some of my fleece has started to come away, it doesn't matter at all. So we'll do the same with the other two sides, and then we'll piece the both of them together. I think it's ever such an elegant bag as well, because I'm thinking that Christmas parties, you could have, I shall explain while I'm oohing in just a second. I was going to say you could have sequins. Can you imagine making a bag out of sequins? Not on the lining, but just on the outside. I don't use an evening bag very often, and in fact I can't remember the last time I did. So I wouldn't want to go out and buy an evening bag. But when I've got one bag that I can change the outer shell for and make it into an evening bag, and then the next day it could be denim, I think that's a great idea. Now, the thing I'm saying about sequins, I really do have quite a thing. You know, those sequins that you can brush in opposite directions and they change colour, or you see a picture of them. I love it. And I do get a few tuts from my daughter when we're out shopping, when we see anything like that, because I'm, oh, look, oh, mother. I love them. So you can make a bag out of that, couldn't you? And write your name on it. So I'm just doing the same on the opposite side. Let's have a look who's here. Oh, Jamie from Florida. Hi. So what time are you over there? You're really early in the morning. What, about 7 o'clock? 6:45? Can't remember what the time zone is. And is it hot over there? It's a lovely day here, actually. Went out walking the dog yesterday and didn't need to take a coat. Very unusual for December over here. Oh, hi, Joan. Sewing along with you, but doing 3 bucket bags from Half Yard Vintage as Christmas presents. First time she's used Bosal. Oh, Bosal foam. I wouldn't use it in these bags because they're gathered, but if you want to add a little bit of structure to a bag, Bosal foam is an incredible thing. I use single-sided fusible, got it on the website, but I do use it for a lot of bags, or if you're making storage boxes and things like that, or if you're making bags, these, oh, and I'm stuck, oh, didn't mean to do that. This is one of my Bosal pre-cut shapes, but the reason I wanted to show you this is, so you can see it's nice and firm, isn't necessarily because of the Bosal, although it's fabulous. I've got these trims for you. I brought these back from India, and I've got quite a few. I'll show you later. I wasn't going to show you that just at the moment, but I did want to show the Bosal foam and how that actually fits. And I've got the patterns on the website. This is the rosemary bag. I haven't got any of the pre-cut shapes at the moment. I need to get some more of those back in stock, but I do have the Bosal that you can use with it. And while you're there, that's a little bit of a teaser of my next fabric range, which is coming out in January, called New Delhi. I know, tease. Right, back to work. So just to show you, when you get talking and distracted, what you end up doing is sewing over bits that you shouldn't. So I've just sewn straight across the opening where the channel should be. So I'm going to undo that. Whoever invented a quick unpick or a seam ripper deserves an award. Okay, and then carry on. Now I'll warn you, I'm on my own. Kim's in control from London. Gary's gone out to watch Tyler, my eldest son, Gary's my husband, doing a marathon dressed as Santa Claus. So I'm on my own, which is fine. I don't mind being on my own. But if the house phone rings or somebody rings the doorbell, there's a delivery, or somebody walks past the window and the dog starts barking, apologies in advance, it'll be mayhem. The trimming on the I haven't even shown you the trimming yet. That's going really well as well. I'll show you that in just a second. We'll put all of this together and then I'll show you all the other bits and bobs and the Indian silks and everything I've got for you. So we've got two pieces that are like this. We need did an ambulance impression for some reason. We need to sew them right sides together. So open them up, right sides together with the outer, and we'll do them one step at a time. So where that mark was that I said it's really important mark, that's where we're going to start sewing. So the two seams will match here, and your darts will match as well. Now when you come to the darts, I don't bother opening them up, I'll squish them in opposite directions, and that cuts down on the bulk. So I'm going to start sewing right at the spot where I stopped sewing around the top, and we'll just do one side at a time. Bobbin's getting lively. Are we ready for this? Bobbin's the dog, by the way, not the bobbin in my machine. That's very lively. Bobbins in my machine are always lively. Still using 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oops. Just knocking things off the table. The table's a bit bouncy, isn't it? I've got a new table. In fact, I've got a new room. Oh, hi, Pauline from Perth. Thank you, Emma. Yes, I am obsessed with the sequins. Oh, you know what I'm going to get for Christmas now, don't you? I'll have sequin pyjamas and sequin slippers. Oh, Sandra's not feeling great. Oh, I'm glad I'm cheering you up a bit, Sandra. And, oh, there we go. That's it. I think that's everybody. Sorry if I've missed you. Okay, so I'm coming back down up to the second point where those seams meet. And right when I get there, I'm just going to go backwards and forwards. Okay. And then we're going to flip over these bits and do the same around the lining. But with the lining, I'll need to leave a gap. So I'm going to try and leave a gap of about 4 inches. The smaller the gap you leave, the less hand sewing you'll have to do. You don't need to worry about hand sewing if you're not making a reversible bag, but I want to make this reversible just to show you how it goes. So right on that spot again, and we'll sew around the edge. Again, squish your darts in opposite directions. If you can hear a dog barking, oh, she's coming. Bobbin. A horse has just walked past the window and the curtains are drawn so she can't see it, but she can hear it. So do apologise, but these things happen in the country. Could be worse, could be a tractor. Just around the seam. And back down this side. Up to that mark again. And then we're finished. Okay. Sorry about the barking. You don't get that on shopping telly. Okay, let's turn this the right. Oh, that's a very small hole. I think I've left my hole a little bit too small. Let me just get a quick unpick. All right. Hey, shush. It's not like she's never seen horses before. All right. Apologies if you have dogs at home who are getting the message that there are horses in the area. I think that's what she's trying to tell everybody. So there we go here. So pull the whole thing through. Elizabeth loves the tutorial. Thank you. Oh, in Malta. Oh, hi, Carm. Thanks, Elizabeth. Let me know what you think and if you'd like to see more. I'm glad you're enjoying it this morning there. Right. So I'm going to poke out the corners. A knitting needle does very well for this. There we go. Oh, just going to turn my iron on. And in this side. It's one of those bags as well. If you're making a bag for the very first time, it actually looks really complicated. And when you see how it's done, it is actually a very simple bag. Right, so poke the corners out. Don't use the scissors for that, you'll make an hole. And then I'm going to sew the opening closed. I'm going to use a ladder stitch so that I can make it as invisible as I possibly can. So, this is what I'm saying about leaving a small hole, because it's less hand sewing if you do it this way. So I did unpick a few stitches, so let's just take those loose threads off. Then I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I might go wobbly while I do this. How's that? Okay. So I'm going to go into the seam, inside the opening. And then if you pull the two sides of the gap, you find that the fabric kind of folds over. So I'm just going to hold that. Let me trim that off because that's really annoying. Then we'll go into one side of the fold and out. And then directly opposite, go into the other fold and make small stitches. If you can make these stitches about 1/8 of an inch long, they should be barely visible. Now take your time. So basically what you're doing is creating a stitch, if I just open that up a little bit, that goes across. So I'm going across to one side, in and out, across to the other side, in and out, and that creates the ladder kind of look. And then every so often just pull those stitches together to close that. Cut that off in a bit. If you're not making a reversible bag, so maybe the silks you won't be doing them reversible unless you use a contrast fabric on the inside, then I'd just machine sew this across. I wouldn't worry about hand sewing normally. And in fact, if you look in a lot of shop bought bags, you'll see that they've been machine sewn, unless you're paying an awful lot of money for them. No point in paying an awful lot of money when you can have your own reversible interchangeable that you make yourself. I'm saying, I don't spend a lot of money on handbags. I don't spend a lot of money on anything at the moment. So, one side to the other all the way across. And then I'll just knot off the thread. I could do this a little bit neater, but I don't want you to get too bored. Hi Maggie Hunter, from a wet and windy east coast of Scotland. Oh, in Fife to be precise. Came across your sewing and had to say I love to watch. Thank you very much. It's lovely to hear from you. It's glorious here. I'm in Lincolnshire. And it's a beautiful sunny day out there, which I'm really pleased because, as I said earlier, youngest son is off dressed as Santa. I say youngest, he's 24. He's the skinniest, tallest Santa you've ever seen. I may post pictures if you'll let me later. I'm coming back. He was a little bit concerned about the beard dropping off, so we've had to take in the Santa suit to start with, because he's about that wide, and the beard is just well, it's tied on with elastic around his ears and the back of his head, but it's not going to be running for 10 miles with that, is he? I did see a picture when they arrived. Everybody, there's about 600 people in this marathon, and they're all dressed as Santas. It's quite a sight. Okay, so I've just knotted off the end here. How do we get round onto Santas? Push the lining inside the back. Oh, lovely weather. That's how I got onto Santas. Yes, I'm pleased it's nice. These Santa suits aren't the best quality, and I can just imagine the dye running as you've got 600 Santas running around Burley House in a sea of red puddle. Okay, now if you're using a heat erasable pen to mark the channel, just be careful where you're ironing, because that channel will disappear. I'm only ironing across the top. And if you're using air or water erasable ink, and some chalks for that matter, do check on a spare piece of fabric first of all, because they can become permanent when you iron them. So on a bag like this, it may not be too important because it's a very fussy print, but if you're using a plain of fabric, no, you don't want chalk marks on there anyway, do you? Right, so that goes there. Irons on the website, just saying. And then we're going to sew across the channel. That sounds like quite an excursion, doesn't it? Let's sew across the channel. So, I better come out a little bit as well. I'm very close there, aren't I? Oh, not too far. You'll see me rubbish on the floor. Right. So I don't think you can see where that channel is, but I've got a pink chalk mark which is here. I have got the hole at the side. It doesn't matter exactly about matching that up, because you can always unpick a few more stitches if you need to. And I'm just going to sew straight across the channel. I can do a slightly longer stitch here. I'll go to 2.4. So push the opposite side of the fabric out of the way, and sew. And then the opposite side of the channel. Do you know, I missed a little bit there. Where's my unpicker gone? I think I needed to redraw the chalk marks. I've gone slightly off. I've gone from one side of the channel to the other. But these things happen. So just undo that again. I think with it being chalk, as I was sewing, it's just brushed it away a little bit. But it'll still only take about half an hour to make, even with unpicking a little bit. That's it. So, let's make the marks again. So one there, one there. Again, you can transfer these from the pattern if you needed to. If you end up doing the same as I did. Right, so I'll carry on sewing that bit. I'll come back to you in a second. Better. Got another idea for you as well in a little while. So what to do with your spare shells if you've made more than one for the bag. Because I haven't tried it yet, and I thought of it just before I came live, and I thought, what are you going to do with those shells? If you only got one clasp, what will you do with all of the other shells? So I think you can make them into drawstring bags and still use them. Might not work, but we'll have a go. Almost finished. So that's, oh, caught on there. That channel. And then straight underneath. Right, that's it for the sewing machine. So let's just snip off the loose threads here. Don't like to see those. And then we'll put the frame in. I can brush away the chalk marks. And it's time for the frame. So, oh, Emma's going to sell her bag. Good. Oh, hi Marion from India. Right, now with the clasp, these two bars unscrew. Most of the ones that I've seen come undone quite easily. And you can take, don't lose that. Take the little bolt off the end. Both of them unscrew, but you only need to unscrew one. If you do find that they're a little bit stiff, some of them are, then use a couple of pairs of pliers and just grab hold of one and unscrew the other one. And then we're going to thread these through the channel. So one at a time. I want this hinge here to be poking on the inside, so that goes inside the V shape. And then thread the bar, thread the bar through the channel when you pick it up off the floor. If you've missed the channel with the stitches or you've sewn over it by accident, then you can unpick a few stitches now. So one side at a time, just keep threading through. Careful again with your silk fabrics that you're not going to catch the fabric with the end of your bar, because it's a little bit rough on the end where the screw bit is. So just keep threading through. Catching a little bit on the fusible fleece, but just persevere. Okay, almost there. Now when you come out this side, it may not necessarily come through the hole in exactly the right place. So if you take a quick unpick that I've lost again, oh, bear with me, it just dropped on the floor, or a pair of tweezers, you can literally kind of fiddle around the end here until you feel the bar, and it kind of parts the seam allowance for it to come through. Then this goes back through the frame. Oops, in you go. I'm just trying to make this look as difficult as I can. So hold that in place and then put the bar on the end, the bolt on the end. And that's one side done. Then we'll do the same with the other side, so let's just take that off. I'll come through from this side. So through the frame, again make sure that that hinge is tucked inside the bag, into the channel at the side, and thread it on. You could add some extra trim as well if you wish. You know, put a frill or a little bit of lace around the top would look nice as you're putting it together. A plique maybe, some of the Indian trimmings I'm going to show you in just a second. So I'm just going to turn this over again while I push that last bit through the seam. Again, if it doesn't go on first time, just part the seam allowance basically, so that the end of the bar pokes through. This one's fighting back. Come on. There we go. Push that through the second half of the frame and screw the next one on. And we're finished. So let me just push that side out a little bit more. So how long's that? I think with a little bit of chat, and I did already cut this out, and a little bit of unpicking, and a little bit of dog wanting to play and bark. She's just brought her favourite toy in. There's my bag finished. So now you can, if you wanted to, make another frame, make another shell, sorry, for the frame. Maybe make a stripe one, or a summery one, or a Valentine's one, or a Christmas one, or a sequined one that does this when you touch it. But I did have an idea for you. I'll take that off in just a second. I want to show my trimmings. I'm really excited about those. Oh, it's torrential rain in Scotland. Oh, good day for sewing then, isn't it? Hi from Cheryl in Florida, and Derek in the Scottish borders, and Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. I love how you demonstrate how it feels. We're in the room with you. Oh, thank you. Jack is in Guernsey. Leslie, oh, is it raining in Preston? Oh no. Morning, Gosia? Is that how you say your name? What a lovely name. Thank you, Emma. Right, I'm seeing that we are depleting in stock. Let me give you a reminder of what I'm bringing to you in the kit. Well, I've still got some left. So there's the instructions to make the bag. There's the pattern on the back to make that size of bag, and all of your step-by-step instructions, just like I write in the books or in magazines. So no jargon, really easy to understand. And your material list is in here as well. So if you wanted to go out and buy more fabric, or you have more fabric and you wanted to make more bags, then of course you can do. Also included, I've put everything down somewhere neat, is your fusible fleece. So you've got plenty in here with a little bit left over, I'm sure. And you've got 2 pieces of fabric. In this kit, this is the floral stripe, one for the outside and one for the lining. And you might just have enough left over to make a purse if you're frugal. So that kit, and the metal handle, of course, which is included, will make up that bag, which again is reversible if you're careful with that hand stitching on the base. That's £20 for everything that you need. Then we have the silks. So same kit again with all of your instructions in either the fuchsia silk, and this is silk that I brought back from India. I'll just show a close-up of that because the sheen on this is gorgeous. So I'm thinking for Christmas time or evenings out or special occasions, wouldn't that look stunning? And it's one strip of fabric, but it varies. It's got borders on either side, on either end. So you can use the border at the top of your bag here, and then it's plainer on the inside. Or you can go for the rose gold. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, if you've already got your frames, I do have the patterns available on their own. They're £7. So again, have a look on the website on debbieshaw.com, and you'll see the patterns there. The rose gold does have the border across the top, but it's a little bit more subtle. And again, you've got the centre part of the fabric, which doesn't have the border, which you can use on the inside. So those are the kits. This one was just to show, this is one that I've just made, how the bag's going to look in different types of fabric. So if you wanted to order more fabric, this is Riley Blake, this is on my website, or you can use your own fabric. I'm not saying you've got to use mine, you can use your own. This is another Riley Blake that I made up just to see how it would look in a completely different fabric. I love this one, and it's got the check on the inside. So if you wanted to order more fabric to make more bags, I would say ½ metre of each. And you'll still have a little bit left over then because the bags are quite wide. So let's have a look at fabric first of all. These are some of the silks that I bought back from India. I'm going close up so you can really see them. And they're absolutely beautiful. This is the burgundy ribbon. And this is actually strips of ribbon which has been sewn on. It creates a really lovely floral shape. It's the most beautiful fabric. It'll make a really lovely, I'm thinking, you know when you see those long evening skirts with pockets in the side and a white shirt, that's what I'm imagining. I think that would look absolutely beautiful. And I've got a couple of colours for you. So that one is the burgundy. This one is the silver grey. Oh, just imagine a lovely kind of shift dress with a boat neckline. I think it would look absolutely stunning. But I've got some more. You can hear that, can't you? You can hear what lovely quality it is. This is so rich. And this is all embroidered. Let me show you the wrong side as well. Just to show you that this has all been embroidered onto the fabric. And it's a difficult colour to describe. It's like petrol. Or when the light catches it, it's turquoise. And when it's kind of in shadow, it looks teal. That is absolutely beautiful. And then finally with the India fabrics, I've got this one, which is quite contemporary. Lovely sheen on it. And it's got these really gorgeous spots. So let me know what you're going to make for it. Again, we're running out of stock of that one as well. I think we've only got a few meters left. It's a busy morning for sewing this morning, isn't it? I'm so glad you came along, and I'm so glad you like all of these new things that I brought you. Now then, a bag in that. You could make a dress and a bag, couldn't you? That would look amazing. Love that fabric. I'm very tempted to hold on to it, I have to say. Look what we got here. Now then, the trims that I showed you. So on my rose gold bag, I added a tassel. These are gorgeous. And this is another bag, which would look like a plain tote bag until you put this on it. Makes it really special. And then I did show you earlier on, bear with me while I bend over, this one. I've got these for you as well, just right in the centre there. It makes the most beautiful embellishment, and it gives your bag a really expensive look, a really shop bought look. So let me show you these. I've got quite an Aladdin's cave here. So these are the tassels. So these are the lilac beaded tassels. They are beautiful. And then I've got lots of these different shapes. I shan't go through everything that I have for you, but I just want to give you an idea of the kind of thing that I've put on the website this morning. Some of them go in different directions. So I've put it on the website, that's right facing, that's left facing. So if you wanted to pair them up, you go for a right and a left. Look how big that is. But these are all beads, and they're all sewn on in gold thread. They're absolutely gorgeous. The blue one. I've shown you that one, haven't I? That was the one that was on my bag. Oh, and there's one that looks like... Oh, and I've got green tassels. Hang on, getting all excited now. Green tassels with beads. You can make earrings out of those. There's one that looks like a poppy, which is lovely. There, look at that one. Now, I'd hand sew these on. I'd use a tiny little stitch and just hand sew around the edge. Oh, I've got some really glitzy gold tassels as well somewhere. You know when you just bring out a selection of things and you don't bring the one that you want? Oh well, and I've got these trims for you. These have come from India, and you may actually see some of these as the inspiration for my new fabric that's coming out. This one's got a raw edge on both sides, but incorporated into a panel. Can you imagine that? And look at the gold thread that's been used. It's really special. Is it orange one with the beads on it? Look at that. That's like silver and plum and gold and sparkles. Amazing. These are all by the metre. This one. And I'm just hoping I've got enough for you. These I won't be able to get back in stock when they've gone. Not exactly the same because they're one off. This is a lovely one as well. Look, that's got all different colours in the background. It's like a rainbow. So that's just an idea of the kind of things that I've got for you that's new on the website. So we'll just say a few hellos, and probably time to go and make some lunch. Oh, lucky to catch up. Caroline, lovely to hear from you. And Sandra, thank you. They're lovely fabric. I'm so excited about those fabrics. But they are limited edition. I can't get any more of that type of fabric. I've still got quite a lot of fabric that I brought back from India because there was rather a lot of fabric, rather a large case trunk full of fabric that I brought back, so I'm busy going through that at the moment. And I will be bringing you more trims, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more of the kits put together for you as well. Next time I come, I'll bring you some of the bag clasps on their own. So if you want to display your own fabric and you've already got your own wadding, then it'll just be the bag clasp and the pattern. But again, anything different you'd like to know about, anything different you'd like me to bring you or you'd like to see, then just let me know. But it's been lovely having your company this Sunday morning, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye.